Mr. Sullivan.
Yo.
If I forgot to put my notes with like my homework notes, should I do?
Turn them in next time.
Okay.
Or if we got a couple minutes at the end of class, it'll take me 30 seconds to look through them. Whenever I get to them. So, worth saying, because, especially at the beginning, we get those kind of questions because, well, we don't really know how things go yet. After every quiz, you put all your stuff up there. I go through it at my earliest opportunity because I want you to have your notebooks and binders and all that stuff back. Most of you had yours up there, had everything done, just a bunch of 5s out of 5s because it's completion, or daily quizzes, sprinkling of 3s and 4s in there. Not too many, oops, I really screwed up. I hope that is all legit and accurate. That's good, because all of that daily work stuff, notes, homework, and daily quizzes, all together at the end of the semester, every single bit of that is only 20%. Okay? Because that's just, are you doing what you're supposed to? Are you showing up and trying to learn? Or are you screwing around? Are you just saying, F it, I don't care? Then the 70% for the quizzes and the 10% for the final, those are where we find out the natural consequences of those choices. Okay? So be honest about that stuff. Turn it in. Make sure if you forget to turn in a packet of notes, okay, just turn it in next time. I'll still put it in. Or maybe just leave it on the counter and I'll get to it as soon as I can. Come back before you leave Spartan time. And then I'll have it done. You go get it. Okay? There's never any question about will it go in. Now, if it's been 3 weeks since something and it's still not done, all right, now I'm going to actually put in the missing in campus. Okay? I'll still take it. It'll just finally go in as a missing now. And y'all know missings count as zeros in terms of grade calculation. The quizzes. I get to them when I get to them. White days, I'm slammed all the way through. You guys took your quiz block 2. I had a room full of freshmen and sophomores for the next 4 hours after that. And then game club after school. And then toddlers. And then fixing that freaking sink again. So, no, I didn't get to them. I'll get to them when I get to them. Okay? When I do, you never need to, okay, A, don't be the kid that's always checking campus. 1, that's not healthy. You are intentionally heaping anxiety on yourself. Stop it. 2, I'll always text everyone and say, hey, the grades are in. Okay? So you don't need to have the campus alerts set on. You don't need to keep checking it. You don't need to keep asking me. When they're in, I'll just text everyone and say, hey, they're in. Okay? Nice and simple. You will have, what, midterm is like right before conferences, I think. Trying to get a lay of the land here. Yeah, September 30th is midterm. Parent-teacher conferences is 1 week after that, October 7th. So by that point, you should have, what, 3? You'll have 3 or 4 quizzes in. Okay, so if after the first one you don't like your grade, well, there's only 1 quiz in. Like that essentially is your grade for the class. After 2, after 3, okay, now we're starting to get a little equilibrium. By the time we hit the end of first quarter, now it's just a steady grind. You're not going to see a grade sharply head up or down. At the beginning of every semester, there's only a few things in there. You guys know how averages work, right? What happens when I take everyone in this room and I go to find the average, the mean age? Add them all up, divide by how many there are. When I do that for this room, it says the average age of a person in this room is now 18.2. Wait, what? Why? We got a bunch of kids who are around 17, and then you toss a 36-year-old in there. You know how outliers work? Okay. Outliers mess with things, especially the smaller your data set is. We just reviewed probability statistics last hour, or this morning with pre-calc. At the beginning of the semester, there's not a lot of data in the gradebook. So one good or bad thing has a drastic effect. All right? So just be patient, not just my class, all your classes. Be patient, give it a couple of weeks until you get a feel for things. But we got all the daily stuff done. If you haven't picked your notebook or whatever up, it's over there. Open up your notes. We're going to finish off to, what was it? I think we had one thing left on 2.2, and then 2.3, and I'll just get as far into 2.4 as we can and call her good. Also, randomly, if you are ever missing notes, if you are ever missing class, A, video. You probably want to know that anyway. B, every year, every semester, every class, I always have a couple of kids in class who got really good notes. Okay, those are the ones you want to go and copy their stuff or ask questions if you don't come to me. It's very rare that I get a kid whose notes are more organized and immaculate than mine ever would be. Mother of God. Okay, if y'all have like younger siblings or friends who are lower class, you can sell your notebook to them after this class, just letting you know. Like you can actually sell it to them and they will pay money for that. Yeah? They can't turn it in as their own. But it'd be a real good thing to have on hand. Those are good. There's a couple of you that got really, really neat, organized, good notes. But when it's like color coded and sticky notes for additional thoughts, and dang, you probably got along great with McCreary. Oh, when she was my student teacher, she put my notes to shame. Like she got little sticky notes and flags and stuff in there and highlighters and stuff. Yeah. So, all right. We left off with proportions. If y varies directly with x, then y over x equals y over x, cross multiply solve. I think that was where we left off. I don't know if we did this one or not. We did?
We did it on our own. Yeah, you're supposed to do that.
Oh, yeah, that was the one we were supposed to finish. I mean, it's just if y is with x, y is with x. Then do sales is with commission, sales is with commission. Cross multiply solve, right? Okay, so we finished off that one. We did not get to the graphs. Oh, yeah, that's right. We stopped here because I didn't want to go into the graphs by direct variation because that's old school, the beginning of your graphing knowledge. They want you to graph by table. Okay? We hate graphing by table. Y'all remember graphing by table? Ahem. Remember those? All right. If you didn't use them before, you're going to get real good at them now. Everyone, have a graphing calculator in your hands. If you do not have your own graphing calculator, which you do not need, there's a whole bunch of them over there. I want you to pay attention to the two doofuses who put their calculators in backwards. Don't do that. Okay, make sure you put them in the right way and put them in the right slot. Yes. Yes. Okay, you all need a graphing calculator on hand. Now, Zoe, that's Casio is menu-based. Are you familiar and comfortable with it? Okay. So I think I had said this before. TI, Texas Instruments, just owns the educational market in terms of calculators. So we are going to use the TIs in class for all of our graphing calculator applications. If you have a different brand, Casios are amazing, but they're menu-based as opposed to algorithm-based. Someone else had some weird-looking one. It was like a brand I'd never even heard of, like Cataga or something. I want to make sure everyone's got it. Because you will never graph by table on your own again. Instead, you're going to let the calculator make the table for you and then just plot points. Come on, Frank, hurry up. There we go. Okay. So, the first thing I want you to do, I had pre-calc messing around with these last hour. Yours might already have a bunch of stuff in the table and data. So, I would like everyone to reset the calculators. Do you know how to reset them without stabbing it in the back? A, never stab it in the back. I know it's got that itty bitty little reset button back there, but if you stab it with anything that is graphite based, a pencil, the graphite builds up underneath that itty bitty little button and it'll like hold it down to the point that your calculator won't turn on again without ripping the lid off the back and cleaning that out. So don't do that. Instead, I want everyone to write it down, memorize it. It's our new mantra. Second plus 7, enter 2. Second plus 7, enter 2. Second plus 7, enter 2, because secondary feature right above plus is memory. Option 7 is to reset the calculator. Enter on all RAM. I just want to get rid of everything. And option 2 says, yeah, I'm sure. Second plus 7, enter 2. Okay. Particularly because I have pre-calc first thing in the morning, y'all are going to want to get used to that because they're going to be doing stuff that you don't want to see on your screen. So, once you're there, up at the top here, these are all things that work with the graphing feature itself. Everything below that, this is all stuff that a good scientific calculator will probably do. If anyone's got like 36X Pro, I am in love with these things. $18, it's $15.
What's your favorite calculator of all time?
This will simplify in terms of pi, I, e, and radicals. This will do integrals and derivatives and calculus. This will do regression for all the regression models we're going to learn in the next couple chapters. It'll do all that stuff, it just won't graph. Okay? So you don't need a graphing calculator, but we will be using them quite a bit, and I will provide them. There is also a TI-83 emulator on your laptop. So, I said up here, this is all the stuff about graphing. Look right above the button that says graph. Table. So if I go to y equals, and I enter any of these graph by direct variation things, I can then go to the table and it will tell me the table of values. I don't have to do it manually ever again. So the first one is 3/4 x. Two ways to put it in. Option 1, the ancient magic. Parenthesis 3 divided by 4 parenthesis x. Okay. That's the old school way. That's how you're going to have to do it on TI-83. Okay, James got one. Jaden's got one. TI-83s, you'll have to put it in with parentheses. I have no idea. It's been 12 years since I've used one. Okay. Well, 0.75 is a terminating decimal that is equivalent to 3/4. That is also okay. But for everyone who's rolling with the TI-84, especially the in-class bumblebees, for you, I want you, if you need to write this down, you're also going to want to write this down. I'm tired of kids asking me, how do I put in a fraction? Alpha. Alpha and this top row brings up shortcuts. And alpha y equals brings up a shortcut menu for inputting fractions. Okay? So I can just type 3/4 x. You're going to want to get real used to that one because the ability to type something in as a fraction is what makes those calculators, like those Casios, it's what makes it a right view calculator. We call it a right view calculator because it allows me to type it exactly as it's written. Not on 83s. Remember when I said that yours is the first 84 plus that I've seen not have those shortcuts? You got to do it like the 83s. You're going to have to do parentheses.
So what you want to do?
Dude, y equals. Hit y equals.
Man, there it is.
You didn't miss step 1. You missed step 0. So,
When I'm resetting it, it's
Uh-huh.
a little different. Do I reset all memories or defaults?
oh, first of all, are your batteries that dead? Or
Yeah, it's the batteries. Oh, it's not the batteries?
there you go. Your contrast was off.
Okay.
Okay, so all memory. Reset. Now see how it's like that again? Second, yellow, sun. There you go. Okay. You're also going to want to know that because whenever we do a quiz, I'm going to have you all reset your calculators before I hand them out. Okay. Now, if I just hit graph, it'll go to a standard 10 by 10 grid. Means 10 in each direction. Now, mine is going to put one line right on top of the other because they're equivalent. Okay. What I do not want to see, pay attention, particularly that table over there. I do not want you to look at that screen and then just do this and call it good. That is incorrect. There's a difference between graphing it and sketching it. Instead, second, right above graph, is table. Go to your table of values. Sweet Jesus. Okay.
Oh, why?
So do you type it in the graphing thing first and then click graphing?
Y equals, enter your equation. Y equals, enter your equation.
I just read it in decimal.
That's fine, as long as you're using terminating decimals and not rounding things off.
Oh my god. Oh, I just pressed you. Yep. Huh? Press graph. Done.
Okay.
I've never seen my calculator.
So you can do multiple lines of alpha, not alpha, second, table, values.
All right. A, we do not show you this in Algebra 1 because, let's be honest, in Algebra 1, would you have ever actually done anything yourself if we showed you this? If I told you in Algebra 1 that you can solve any equation of any kind by putting the left side in y1, the right side in y2, and then calculate intersection, would you have ever solved equations on your own?
No.
Okay? That's why we don't show you in Algebra 1. In Algebra 2, we expect that you already know how to do all that stuff. You know how to wash the dishes by hand. You are now allowed to use the dishwasher. Okay? You already went through how to do linear functions like nonstop, and then you also learned the basics of the first few nonlinear functions. Now that you're in Algebra 2, we're going to use the tools a lot more to get us through the grunt work because you still have to know how to do the new stuff. Okay? For example, when they say graph by table, we are never going to make the table on our own. Instead, you're going to dump it into y1, second table, go to the table. Okay? Now, why do these two look the same? I put the same equation in. It's the same line when I graph. Why does the table look different?
Because it's decimals.
One side's the
One's in the front.
Okay. On mine, if I go to mode here, scroll on down, look at my answers. Answers auto. It means if I put it in as a operation, parentheses, it's going to give me the decimal because that's the answer to the operation. If I put it in as a fraction, it's going to give me a fraction answer. Put it in as a fraction, get a fraction out. Put it in as a decimal, get a decimal out. Automatic. Okay? Yep.
So there's no way to get that.
On TI-83s, you cannot do fraction mode. Now, you can change your answers to fractions later on. Like say I was working on a problem and at the end of it, I don't know. Say at the end of the problem I got this. And I'm like, I forgot what that is. 7/9. Then I would go to math and I would just tell it to, hey, give me that as a fraction. Okay? That does work on the TI-83s. Okay? Works in reverse too. What if I get some goofy decimals like 0.893, 0.893, 0.893, 0.893? I'll just spam that a bunch. Oh no, I just wanted 893, 893. I didn't want all this. Okay, if you got a big long decimal, you can also then go switch to fraction. I can also have a fraction and switch it to a decimal. So I did not want to do that. That's syntax error right there. Okay, so you get your table. You plot points by table. No, you do not need to write them. If it ever says, make a table to show, don't. Put it on your calculator. You did that in Algebra 1. Okay? I just care about the answer. The reason I left this off of yesterday, A, I knew it would take a little time to talk about calculators. You're going to be good with the calculators after this class. B, when was the last time you graphed that by table? Oh, you did back in middle school when you very first started learning how to graph points. The very first ways that you learn how to graph things are plotting points, and you would plot them from a table. Okay, now maybe it's been long enough and you have learned the ways of, if you go home and ask your parents, what do they know about algebra? That's probably what they're going to say. Y equals mx plus b. Like, that's the only thing they remember. Because it was seared into their friggin' retinas. What is that? It is a line. Slope-intercept form. Okay? Y'all remember this? Start at 0, up 3, right 4. Up 3, right 4. Up 3, right 4. Uh-oh, I ran out of room. What else can I do? Down 3, left 4. Down 3, left 4. Connect the dots. Please use a straight edge. The line tool up here requires me to have it already lined up anyway, so I hate it. And if I try to actually put a line on here, like a physical ruler, look at what it does. Okay, it thinks anything touching it is the pen. So that's what happens when you have 15-year-old smartboards. So these are direct variation equations because they only have a slope, no y-intercept attached to it. If there's nothing in the y-intercept position, I know it's a 0. So show me on these two graphs, that was just a quick sketch of this one. Show me on those two graphs those two equations. Graph them. If you have to plug it into y equals and look at the table, great. If you do it with the slope, great. I don't care. I just want you to graph those two. But it's got to be accurate. Accurate. Don't just sketch because it kind of goes the same direction. Okay. Let's see who remembers what. If this is horribly boring because you know it all, sorry. If this is a little bit fuzzy, that's why we're reviewing it. If this is utterly alien language, consider begging them to switch you into business math. But I think we're all good, okay? We just got to knock a little rust off the gears. Both of them have no y-intercept stated, so I know it's 0. If I were to look at the table, they're going to give me the points of 0, 0, 3, -2, 6, -4, and on and on and on. Who's got to back up? Back up one. There we go. So 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. That sounded terrifying. Okay. One thing I do want you to do, or make a note of, if this is you, I don't know. A, if you're making a line, please use straight edge. At the very least, you all got an ID on you. Or you should. You should have an ID on you, a driver's license, a debit card, a Qdoba gift card. I don't care. You got some chunk of straight plastic. The very edge of the calculator lid, yeah, that works too. Okay. So A, use straight edge. B, please do not be the kid that comes in here and does that. Don't do that. Because A, that's not remotely linear. That's a squiggle. B, the graph continues off the edges of the coordinate plane. This thing goes forever. So make as many of these points as you can. That one's supposed to be here. There we go. Whenever you're making these graphs, please extend them off the edge of the graph because you need to demonstrate it does go infinitely. It goes forever. Okay? So there's a reason that we didn't do direct variation graphs yesterday. It was because no one ever did these by table in the last 3 years. You learned slope-intercept form, which is right there. Okay? So all I wanted was those two graphs just to show, hey, I know how a calculator works, or I remember slope-intercept form before we review it. Now, I want you to go to this page. If you do not remember slope-intercept form, here's your crash course. Slope of a line. It is a comparison. It's the change in your vertical distance, the change in your horizontal distance. Change is denoted by delta. It's a little triangle, okay? It just means change. You should have seen it in geometry, okay? Change. Particularly, I don't think our geometry teachers talk about vectors at all. When you do your trig unit, remember SOHCAHTOA? Did they talk about vectors at all, where it's so many units of force this way, so many units of force this way, so you do Pythagorean to find the entire magnitude of the vector?
I remember that one.
Okay. If we got time at some point, maybe we'll go over it again. But it's expected going into pre-calc that you know that, and it's expected that you're in a minimum of pre-calc going into physics, and that you already know what vectors are because you're going to do a lot of them. All right, whatever. That's a discussion for another day. If I want to know how this thing changes vertically, who here sprouted over summer? Like, you came back, Alexis back there like, nah. Like, who has come back from summer and you had some friend like, dude, you're like 3-4 inches taller than you were. What the crap happened? Okay. Less down. that works. If I say that you grew 3 inches over the school year, how would I know that? Put together the track roster. It says that you're 5'8". Go back and look at the football roster. Wait a second, you were 5'5". Oh, hey, you grew 3 inches. What did I just do? I subtracted those values. I didn't just assume the number 3. To find out how much something has changed, you subtract. You find the difference in them. If I want to know what the vertical change is from here to here, I subtract. I find the difference in the heights. The heights are the y's. So we get y sub 2 minus y sub 1. The change in y's. The second y minus the first y. How much did it change? The second x minus the first x. That look familiar now? Okay, good old slope formula. y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. If you don't know it off the top of your head, it might be in the back of your book. Otherwise, it's, well, we wrote it down now. You probably more appropriately remember it as rise over run. What I would like you to put next to the rise over run, though, and how many of you were notoriously bad at screwing up slope because your line was always going the opposite direction of where it was supposed to? Okay. The way that I try to help with that, I teach all the way down to algebra half with, is I say the slope is rise over run, but next to it, I write rise over run, like this. Because if I always go left to right like a book, it is either a positive slope or a negative slope, going up or down. Maybe we need to go all the way back to algebra half. Who remembers this fun little guy?
Oh, the slope guy. I remember it.
Mr. Slope Guy.
Undefined.
Okay? You have 4 kinds of slope. They are also right here. You have positive slope. You are left to right. You are going up the hill. Negative slope. Left to right. You are going downhill. Zero slope. Think of it like cross-country skiing in North Dakota. Just flat as a tabletop. At least Red River Valley, east side. I grew up like almost right on the Minnesota border. Flat as a tabletop. Climb up on a 30-foot tall grain bin, I can see every single town around me in the county at night. 30 feet up, I can see everything in like a 40-mile radius. It's that flat. Or undefined. The way that I always remembered it is a positive slope, you're going uphill, a negative slope, you're going downhill. To remember this, from here to here, what's the rise? It didn't. What's the run? In this case, 3, but it's some number. Well, what's 0 divided by any number? 0. I have here in my hand 0 pieces of pizza, and I will share it with all of you. You all get nothing, right? 0 divided by anything, nothing divided amongst any number of people is still nothing. But, look at this one. What was the rise? Well, the rise depends whether you're going up or down, but it was some number, either 3 or positive 3. What's the run? Left to right. There isn't any. Okay, I can take 0 and divide it as many ways as I want, and it's still 0. I dare you to cut this into 0 pieces.
Just did it in my head. It's impossible.
Cut it into 0 pieces. Right now it's 1. Every time I cut it, it's bigger than 1. You get some smart aleck who's like, ooh, look, I did it. Okay? This was not division. This was subtraction. I didn't divide it by anything. You can't divide something by 0 spots. I can't take Rylan and chop them up in the air Fruit Ninja style and somehow have no more Rylan. It's still Rylan soup. Okay? So this is undefined. And the way that I always remembered it, again, was either you're going up the hill, down the hill, you're cross-country skiing, or you fell off the cliff and your remains are undefined. Splat. Undefined. Okay. So, those are different types of slope. Do we remember? Y'all got that little formula. Let's find that slope. Now, the way I always recommended, just like when we were doing our expressions last week, is if the slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, I always replace those with parentheses because I don't want to screw up negatives. Case in point, if I plug in, oh wait, which one's which? It is arbitrary which one is which because you will eventually have the signs be the same anyway. But if you need to say the first x, the first y, the second x, the second y, right? Now I just plug and chug. Throw in a 4 and a 7, a -2 and a -3. I want you to pay attention right here. Okay? I'll see so many kids who don't use parentheses. They'll be like, oh, okay, that's 4 minus 7, -2 minus -3. Good to go. What's wrong? Because they have a minus there and treat it as a negative already attached to the number. But it's supposed to be minus a negative. It's supposed to be opposites. So please be careful. Use parentheses, whatever it's going to be. I get a -3 over a +1. Always simplify them. -3. I get a 1 minus a 1, a -4 minus a 3. I get 0 over -7. Is it 0 or undefined?
0.
Oh, we argued. Grab a calculator then.
0. It's 0. No, the number's got to be on top.
It is 0. 0 divided any number of ways is still 0. But 1 minus a -3, 7 minus a 7, I want you to divide 4 tacos among 0 people.
Undefined.
Okay, undefined. Or undefined. I don't know, different books and different teachers will say either undefined or empty set. Oh, has anyone heard that instead called just no slope? Because it's undefined, it has no slope. I've heard some books do that. Okay. So, trip down memory lane. Get them.
Boom. 1 minus 4.
Yeah, you all do that. I'll be back. We'll get Craig. Harrison's in front.
Shit.
Give me like 3. It's my notebook.
I'm gonna drink that before the game. So after you pulled it up, you took it. So we gotta stretch it and stuff. Not quite. Or before that. Right before that. We leave.
Kick off.
We'll take an hour to kick off.
Should I do 5? I'll wait. Shotgun the opposite side. That's
That's why you made it tilt up, and then as soon as you go, you keep
I know, but you make it like this. Right here. You had it like this.
What did I do? I wasn't because I wasn't.
You go. You pop and you go.
Yeah, like think about it. He's like, I'm not actually doing it, so I had to think. I was actually doing it. Easy. You're doing it with the brush, it's just no thinking.
What's your 0 in?
A piece of rough is not.
First blush, you just pop rope.
So yeah, I got.
No, like in this part.
But yeah.
Divided by
Dude, we head over there and like get ready over there. No.
Okay, how many does it take it?
This is like normal. So unless you leave it here, try something that's slow you did. Yeah. I mean, how much are we talking? How much are we talking?
Just
4 or 5 or 4 or 5. Like to get back. I want to get there. At this point, you're there. I'd say it's probably the main
Nah, it's like 20 feet. I'm experienced.
Give me like, probably next year you'll give me like 10 and I'll be there and I'll be good.
Yay or nay?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, besides just doing mental math fast, what's a way that I could figure out C without doing math? Keep going. The x's are the okay. Yeah, holds up calculator probably. The x's are the same. If the x's are the same, that means when I plot this, it's going to be at 9, 3, and 9, -4. They're on the same vertical line. So if the x's are the same, it's going to be undefined. What if the y's are the same?
It's gonna be 0.
0, because 0 slope. It did not rise. Okay. This part asks, use the slope formula to show it doesn't matter which one's x1, x2, y1, y2. So here's what I mean. If I say y2 minus y1 is x2 minus x1, what if I instead wrote y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2? How can I show that that's the same thing?
By trying it, see if it's the same answer.
Oh, that's just brute force. That's anecdotal. That would be called numerical proof instead of algebraic proof.
Doesn't work.
You remember smooth. What if I... What's anything times 1? What is any number divided by itself? 1. So, -1 divided by -1 is 1. Anything times 1 is still itself. So would you agree that this is still the same thing, but now negative y1 plus y2, negative x1 plus x2. What happens when I swap those around? Okay. They are the same thing. Also, you could say you factor out a -1 from both. So they're just showing you that it doesn't matter which way. Here, I can take... Oh, no, not you. I could take -2 minus 2 and -2 minus 2. I'll get -4 over -4. But what if I took instead 2 minus -2? No, minus a -2. Positive 4. 2 minus -2, positive 4. So either I get -4 over -4 or positive 4 over positive 4. Both of them become positive 1. What I can't do is, just like the Ghostbusters warned us back in 1984, I can't cross the streams. If I take x1 minus x2 with y2 minus y1, well, then you blow up the world. Don't do that. Or you get just a negative of your answer. Blow up the world, negative of answer, same thing, right? Yeah. Teenagers are prone to hyperbole. No? Okay. You cool? Show me some thumbs. Do you remember how to slope?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just be careful with your parentheses and your signs. It really sucks to be all the way up in Algebra 2 and get something wrong because you just missed the negative on slope. Like you're all the way back in Algebra half. Like, that hurts. Okay. All right. Slope-intercept form then. Y is mx plus b. Also written as y is slope x plus y-intercept. Also written as rise over run. X plus 0 comma b. You will always start with a point at 0b. Whatever this is, start there on the y-axis. It's important that we state on the y-axis. Then you use your slope, your rise and run, to make some more points. Okay? Next to this, because I know how fond we are of word problems, I would like you to write y is rate x plus start. Because that's typically how linear functions are displayed in word problems. A rate and a starting amount. Give you an example. Today, First day that we've had a daily high below 65 in, I don't know, about 6 months. Okay. We had a good stretch of almost 2 months there where I don't think we dipped below a high of 88. We had about a month straight where it was 95 plus. It was scorching pretty good for a while there. And then half the country was on fire on top of it. And it still is. It's just now at least it's a little cooler here. So I get to choke on the air while not sweating. So a typical example would be in another couple of weeks, all of our HVAC technicians in the area are going to be absolutely swamped because people are going to be turning on their heat for the first time in half a year. And they're going to find out, oops, my furnace doesn't work anymore, or it's not turning on. It might be something as simple as a pilot light. It might be a dusty, dirty sensor. But they will charge you $60 to come out there, and then $60, $70 an hour to be there. That is slope intercept. Starting amount, $60 to even get out there. Then a rate, $65 an hour. You know how much that sucks when you just didn't clean off the little sensor at the bottom that's preventative maintenance, and it says it right there on the sticker in front of your furnace? It tells you, hey, do this every year, and you just don't, and now it costs you $125. Happens every year. Okay. The way that we're going to graph them, again, nice and easy, is you start at your y-intercept, whatever your slope is. Do you remember making these like little triangles? Rise, run, bunch of little triangles. Well, if I can go up 2 and I can go right 4, what else could I do? I could have reduced that down. Up 1, right 2 by reducing. What else? Yeah. Can I only go up and to the right?
No. You go down.
I can also go down and left. Down and left. Okay. So, y'all, this is level 0. If you can't do this, I'm afraid. No, this isn't the tutorial. This is just, can you poke the icon to start the game? This isn't even that. Okay? This is press any button. Yes. Okay? I can't find the any key. If I say m is 1/5, slope is 1/5, and the y-intercept is 0, -3, if you can't turn that into 1/5 x minus 3, we're in trouble. Okay, just put them in the right spots. If it's shown as a graph, on the other hand, might have to do a little more thinking. I see that it starts at a +4 on the x-axis. I'll then have to count. I see that it goes down 3 and right 1. Do you see why I wanted rise like this and then run? If I always use those arrows, then I'm always sure of my slope's sign. It went down and to the right, not up and to the right. If I always go to the right. Now, if there's anyone here who reads manga, okay, now you're going to be a little cross-eyed, but you were already different. Okay? So, this is why I say rise over run, and run is always left to right like a book, because that'll keep us from screwing that sign up, hopefully. All right. All 4, speed run.
Speed run.
Or wait, All 5. Speed run. Go. Those 5. Go. Go.
That's my bad.
Even the escape key to get out of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what that was because my dad was trying to explain it to me. Like, I hit ESC and I was hitting the button, like the letters on my keyboard, trying to get I was 13 and I didn't know this.
Well, also think about modern context, though. That was only a couple of years ago. How often do we use the escape key now in modern PC usage? Now, rewind to when I was 13, when we actually had to use DOS Windows. Yeah, escape key was used a lot. Okay? That's your dad's fault for being not a boomer, a millennial. The first kid that tried to pull OK Boomer on me. It's like, settle down, Tide Pod. I'm a millennial. We should have 6x plus 5. Y is, what's that, down to 1 over 2? Okay, using the graph view to get a different equation if you use. Okay. They ask, if I use those 2 points instead, do I get a different equation? It will reduce. It'll be down 3, right 6. It just reduces to the same thing. So, no. Because it reduces. Suppose I should actually say that, reduces. Okay. 18. I do want to point that out. Not all graphs are pretty. You got to be able to ballpark or ID when it actually hits those integer intersections. To me, it looks like it hits here, 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 and here. How do I know that it's actually hitting those? Yeah, I can. I can try each of them in my equation and make sure that they actually work. Okay. You remember back to 2 days ago, direct variation. How did I know that it was direct variation? There was a pattern every time it was the same thing. Did I every time go down 1, right 3? Okay, I know it's actually hitting those points. So like, if I'm looking at it and I think it's down 5 over 6, but then the next time it looks like it's down 5 over 7, well, those are 2 different things. It's supposed to be a line. I know that I'm wrong on at least one of those. Okay, so just make sure that it fits that pattern still. So we should have, what is that? Negative 1/3 x minus 2 and 5x plus 12. Nice and simple. Okay. Writing equations, slope-intercept form. So sometimes it don't look the way you want it to. So you got to rearrange them. Good thing we just reviewed literal equations in which we were rearranging a formula. So to turn these into slope-intercept form, pretty simple. Get y by itself. So these are effectively saying, instead of write the equation in slope-intercept form, it might as well say solve for y. Same thing. Subtract 5x. Ooh. Okay. All right. How many times have I seen kids subtract 5x And they're like, mic drop, I'm good. And then they get one off on the problem. Okay? That's why if you have to go back to old school, there's a reason that we had you do all of this in algebra half. Subtract 5x, subtract 5x. Turn your phone to silent. Irresponsible teachers these days. Okay? This is the way I always had kids show it, is 5x minus 5x is 0, and when I actually put the 0 on there, look at what's still there. The negative is right next to it. So I would always drop it, it's a little warm, and say negative 4y is, these two don't go together, so I just write them. If you need just little tricks like that from way back in the day to make sure you don't miss that negative, cool. If you don't need to, don't. I just want to show you things that may or may not help you. Because I'm not supposed to divide by a 4. I'm supposed to divide by a negative 4. So that's a positive 5/4 x minus 4. It does ask you to identify the slope and the y-intercept. So right next to it, I'll say slope is 5/4. Int is 0, negative 4. Technically, remember, y-intercept is a coordinate. What am I doing? You can just ask me. You okay? We're good now. All right. Same thing over here. How about this? What fraction is in front of y right now? Could I multiply everything by 2 right now?
Sure.
Yeah. You just be careful that you multiply everything by 2, but most folks are going to go for 1/2 y is add that over. 3/4 x minus 1. And then divid, but I don't actually divide by a half, I multiply by 2. But when you multiply by 2, are you remembering to multiply this by 2 over 1 and this whole side by 2 over 1? Are you remembering the whole side, not just part of it? There's a lot of kids who will write that as 3/4 x minus 2, forgetting to distribute to all of them. Remember, math is communist. What you do for one, you do for all. If you multiply a term by 2, you better multiply all your terms by 2. And I know I'm doing it on the fly, but remember cross-canceling? Okay. So, when they ask what the slope and the y-intercept are, you can either write them out longhand like this, or I'll be lazy. Good enough. Okay, the actual irony of that is that my mom is going to be waiting for me when I get home. I didn't do it, I swear. Long weekend. Grandma's coming to visit. So, go. Get him, get him, get him. Get Y by his lonesome. Yeah, y'all know that you got Monday off, right?
No, not really.
I mean, if you choose to spend your day off working because that is of a higher priority to you, then yeah. That's illegal while you're in school.
Okay, like it's a little under 40, but it's close to
Okay.
I can get 40, but I don't.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I made more money as a farmhand in high school than I ever did right now. And it was all cash too, because they could just write a check and they would write in the memo parts expense. so they could write it off for tax. I didn't have to claim it. It was incredibly illegal, but hey, money. Yeah.
You basically weren't an employee.
Oh no, there was no employee.
He just did it.
Yeah, he would write a check for parts.
My dad, landscaping. My dad, that's how he does it.
Yep.
Cash.
That's very illegal. But oh no, if it's for your parents, that's different because they can say that they're just paying you for chores.
I'm like family friendly at
Yeah.
ranch. And they had me just under the counter cash for a while.
Yep.
But now I'm like through it taxes.
Yep.
So that kind of sucks.
I mean, unless you make a certain amount, you're going to be marked tax exempt and get it all back at the end of the year anyway. But or you could be a teacher and just be like dirt poor and not paid enough, and then you get a lot back because you have 2 kids, and the government's like, "Damn, dude, you don't make enough money for this. Here." So anyway, divide by 2. Identify, make sure. Slope is -3/2. Y-intercept is 0.9. Please make sure that's an X. Make sure that you watch that negative again. That this is Y is now -7/5. X -7. Okay. Please be careful with your signs. Who missed a sign already?
Not me.
Like having just talked about it, already missed a sign. Okay? It happens. Slow down, be careful, watch what you're writing. Okay. Show me some thumbs. Can you put stuff into slope intercept form? What's 27 in slope intercept form?
What?
No, it's just like
Number 27.
it's just
What?
7 across. Wait, no, it would be.
It is already simplified in slope intercept form. Okay, the whole lot of you are like, mutter, unintelligible noises. But you know that it's going to be a horizontal line. Okay. What if I said this?
Impossible.
That would just be.
It's not simplified. Like this is slope intercept form. But if you needed to write this to just wrap your head around it as you're working with it, I'm okay. We're good. Don't write that as your final answer, but just making sure that we know that. Okay. Put it all together, folks. Get Y by itself, graph the line. Okay. All the way back to algebra half. Put Y by itself. I now know the Y-intercept. I use the slope to go up 2 and right 1, up 2 and right 1, or down 2 and left 1. Connect the dots. Okay.
Yo, yo, yo.
I know that this is, I was going to say should be easy. Because this is the portion of Algebra 1, or Algebra half, that you spent months on. And then it's one of the few algebra skills that you would have continued to use in geometry. Y'all remember finding distance between parallel lines?
No, that was not fun.
You would have to take a point here and this, find a line perpendicular to this that goes through that point. And then, so that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'd find the perpendicular line. Then you would go do a system with that, and then you'd have to do a system between that to find out where they meet. So now you got the next point. Then you'd have to do distance formula. Familiar?
Distance formula.
Okay. So when we review linear equations, don't tell me, well, I haven't done that for 2-3 years. No, you did this in geometry. Put it in slope-intercept form and graph it. I mean, put it in slope-intercept form and graph it. Yo!
But I don't know if I did it right, so I'm trying to. Actually, it wouldn't be 7.
Well, then write your steps out instead of trying to do it all on your own, Haas. Just write it. Right. Minus 4x minus 4x. Zeros out. Negative 7y is negative 4x.
Can't you just divide by -7 to 14 and then you would get
Then divide the whole thing by negative 7. Remember to do it to both terms, right?
So this would just be -2.
So 4 sevenths x minus 2.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did, I think.
Yeah, but you weren't writing your steps, so you were goofing little things. Don't get lazy, right now.
So that would mean though I'd start it to go up 4, right? Or,
Up 4, right 7 from that point. I don't see anything. Craft on your paper. I would like you to graph something on your paper.
No. Oh, wait.
Yeah, you good. Now graph it. Oh, you did. Okay. Yeah. Well, look at your equation. Is the slope positive or negative? So, does your line go up and to the right? Uphill? Yeah. You just need practice at graphing. There's a difference.
Oh no. I went down too. And raised that one.
Side of your phone.
Do we have the correct equation? Y'all are way too squirrely, I understand. Friday afternoon, 3-day weekend, lock it in. Let us just finish this. Okay? All right, Goof Troop, over here. You three, Stooges. Where do I start?
You already did that.
Then
Put a point at -2.
-2 for the y-intercept.
And then, no, -2 on the y.
Oh, you mean it's a y-intercept of -2 and we should say something with the y-axis? Okay, cool. What's next?
Count up 4 and override.
Count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cool? No, this is wrong.
Down 4.
You always use the slope to count from the point. That's why we're starting there. Okay.
I'm supposed to start from the green dot that you told me to put.
1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 1, 2, 3 and a half. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3 and a half. Okay. It ain't level 0. It might be level 1. We have passed the press the any key, but now we're at the welcome to the tutorial. Press A to continue. Okay. Now it is. Okay. I see something that we should probably practice because some of you are sketchy on it. Those three, get them.
Oh, shoot, you're right, you're right. Yeah, okay, so, okay.
There you go. Man, when in doubt, write it out.
Oh, I hit 30 when I was doing that. You are sharp and fast. So would you just guys there's no why? Oh, hold on. This stuff has been like grinding in my head. Dude, I got it. I'm upset.
First one, where's y-intercept? There's no number there, so there's a 0 in the y-intercept spot. Start at 0. Slope is up 2 over 1. Or down 2 left 1. Okay. Contestant 2. Add 2x to both sides. Divide by 5. Start at y-intercept of 2. Slope is up 2, right 5.
Shouldn't that 2 be -2?
What?
By -2 by 5.
I didn't even see the negative.
Brownie
Yeah?
point, baby. Woo!
I legit didn't even see it.
So wouldn't it be below the?
But I have a smart board, so I can move the whole thing.
I think you mean a rank board. Little bowl that could.
Yes, I don't have a smart board. I have a hillbilly board. Okay.
I thought I did. I thought I did.
What's up? What's going on? Figure it out. I'm gonna chill over here. I want to hear the words explaining it too, pal. Come on, come on.
You're wrong. You're on this live stream. Wrong. You're on live stream.
Okay, so we gotta like subtract the 5, you know.
Face us so we can hear you.
I think this is a well-deserved break. Okay. And then you gotta divide it out.
Hayden, can you speak up?
Why do you have to divide it?
Divide by the -y.
Wait, if you divide by -y, then which
Hey,
get rid of
teacher
your
man,
y?
what if you just added the y over and did that?
If you divide the -1, you don't divide.
Yeah, you divide by -1.
Yeah, that's a brownie point. You don't divide by -y. Divide by
Great teacher we got here.
Oh, nice line. I don't teach, I just.
Where's your straight edge?
Why did you have the straight edge set for me?
This break doesn't work.
All right, I think y'all got this. Let me double check the homework online because remember we had to monkey with things. We're like a half a day off. Let me double check online. I'll send it out on Remind. But I think y'all got this. It's going to be small.
Please go insert sponsor.
Okay, if you borrowed one of these calculators, I want you to look at the top of it. Top edge. Dremeled into every one of them is the number. Make sure you actually put it in its correct slot.
I did.
Put him in the right spot.
What?
I got put on the spot big time.
I know. Throwing paper
It's
around.
fine. I can throw paper around.
Throw paper.
I'm good.